All right, well, let's begin this evening with a prayer. I think we're finally up ready to go, and then we'll jump into this. Let's pray. Thank you, God, for being the kind of God who loves us deeply, each and every one of us. Thank you for being the kind of God who created us in your image. We are like you in so many ways, and so we want to say thank you for putting that in us. But we're just also so crazy different, and that sometimes makes it difficult to kind of manage our relationships in this world. And so I pray that you will open our hearts to what we're going to be talking about tonight. And as we look at our lives, the way that we treat people, and the way that we speak to people, and the way that we get along with other people, I pray that you will help us try to be better in all of those ways. Forgive us when we don't do what we should do, and help us just see clearly those faults, and know that, well, your son was perfect, and we want to be more like him every day, knowing that he did all this for us, and it's because of him and through him that we pray. Amen. What we got, Jesse?
All right, so today we're rolling the heart triad. This is feeling, attention, and shame. The heart triad right over here can be found are 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4.
What?
So again, so it's this section right here.
That's not a 4.
Joe, this? No, just cut off.
That's the worst.
So anyways, feeling, attention, and shame. So this is our deep in our heart. Pulling at your heartstrings, emotions. You wear them on your sleeves. You're a very emotional person. You know, you kind of get choked up at any little moment. You can get in there with some tears or any other feelings for that matter. Just all your feelings are out there. Attention. Not necessarily just all attention, but like we like to say pats on the back. All three of them want pats on the back. They want them for different reasons, though. Okay, they want them for different reasons. We'll talk about that as we go through. But attention, it's kind of pats on the back, a little back rub, a little back pat, and shame. This is like last week we talked about anger being for that top section. Shame is what we feel here. Shame. Okay, so it's going to be the big thing they're tied to. So just real quick, we're talking about 2, 3s, and 4s. So this is where 8s go in health. This is where 6s come to in health. This is where 1s go to in stress. So again, we're always connected with our numbers. So the other numbers are connected to this to some degree. All right, we'll start off. Our number 2, our helper, our giver. This guy or girl is our most mistyped number. Okay, this one right here is our most mistyped number. And that's because we are Christians and we all want to be a helper. We all want to be a giver. Especially if you are a Christian in the Bible Belt and a female, you are going to mistype as this number. If you're just like, so if you are a girl with all those labels and you're feeling the 2, that's great. I'm not saying you're not a 2, but make sure you look at it well, because your motherly instinct is just going to feel like it's pulling you to this number. Okay? So they want to be loved and valued. They want to be loved and valued because their basic fear is not being wanted for who they are apart from what they have to offer others. Okay? So they find value in what they have to offer others.
Oh, 2s. They bring a lot of gifts to this world.
Not to boast.
Well, what you need to read here is Joe is especially naturally warm. He's nurturing and sensitive, handsome, loves attention.
Yeah, he does.
No, I'm a 2. Very, very, very strong, I believe. But in people's needs. Generous, caring, insightful, adaptable. You think about some of these things, and they're willing to get out there and adapt to help. I'm gonna be what you need. I'm gonna be there for you. I'll try to do this. I'm going to nurture and sensitive to other people's needs. I want to be there to help you be better. I want to do something for you the flip side of that, and this is where all of this gets kind of tough for us, is these are areas that can be the really struggle for us, because, well, we can be overbearing. We can be manipulative. I can do things just so that you like me. I can do things just to get you to like me. I can do things so that I can play the martyr. Oh, well, I'll let you have this last cookie. I didn't get one, but, I'll let you have it. Even small things. We can be the martyr. It can be indirect, which what you can read there is we're not going to be the 8 that's going to be out there challenging. We'll try to do things kind of passive aggressively, if you will, kind of indirect with a few things. We can be overly accommodating, whatever you want. A lot along the lines of a 9 in that kind of peacemaking kind of sense. But the whole idea is I want you to see me as someone who's just so helpful. And codependency, just gotta depend on each other there.
They're pats on the back. They want pats on the back of, Joe came in here and he made that coffee for us. Thank you, Joe.
Well, that's what I do.
And they want thanks and the pats on the back. If they don't get that, they feel drained. That's what they need to keep going. And I know some of us can say, yeah, I feel that. If I do something nice for someone, I would like a thank you. I mean, thank yous go a long way, but you don't understand. That's what the 2 lives for. The 2 lives for that, because they find their value in that thank you and that pat on the back. They're like, yes, that I'm worth something to this person.
Go back one slide. The basic fear, not being wanted for who they are, set apart from what they have to offer. So I am what I offer, and so boy, it's hard for me to not be that way. And so it's hard for me to not do things just so that you will notice, boy, he's sure being a servant. He's sure being helpful. Go ahead.
All right, so the top style, offering help and advice, showing sympathy, flattery. They can really build you up. They're comforting. Rarely reference themselves. They make it about you. You're on a date with a 2. They're going to make it about you. And you're like, man, I love this person. This person really is just all about me. And you can just really be into that. And then a 2 is just and they just, at the end of the night, you're like, I had such a wonderful time with you. Because, again, they just built you up and made you feel special. And by them doing that, they find worth. They find worth. I'm always loving and others take me for granted. That's what they're telling themselves is people don't understand. I'm giving everything, and they're just taking it for granted. They're just taking it for granted. I'm handing out everything. I'm not getting enough thanks.
So, remember...
Real quick, sorry. Reminder, we're doing the animal thing. Don't forget about our animal thing. So each week we'll do the animal thing. So be listening, and then we need some animal mascots that will represent our 2, okay?
All right. So when it comes to the passions, remember, these are not, don't necessarily think of them as sinful and evil, but it's not a good thing. It's a tendency to miss the mark. It's a tendency to be off center just a little bit, to allow, to not really be where you need to be. And so, for a 2, for someone who is constantly giving and constantly trying to make sure that you see that they're giving, well, you can see how this just lends itself to pride. Well, Mark Deal, he had the whole family promise sign up, and Joe, he signed up for a couple nights. Well, pretty soon it starts playing up to your pride. And you start to do those kind of things just so that you get those pats on the back. He's always there. Anytime that they're, anytime that they have that moving ministry, well, he's always there. And it's not always a bad thing trying to be helpful. It's a good thing to be helpful. But the problem is, sometimes we do it just so that we can say, hey, give me that pat on the back. Look how awesome I am. And so that pride starts to come back in. And
that's where their shame comes into play too. Is Mark Deal puts out an all call and Joe can't say he can help him. Joe feels ashamed. Joe is like, man, I just can't help him. I really need to help him. And Joe just feels bad. Joe's he just puts out an all call, not even a direct quote to Joe, and Joe will come up and apologize to him. Hey man, sorry I couldn't be there to help, because Joe always helps. And so he feels that shame and he feels the need to apologize.
And so we tend to deny our own needs, trying to help others. We put off what we truly need ourselves, so that we can help other people and try and get fed that way. And that's a vicious cycle of just kind of bad stuff. So, childhood messages, and remember, the wounding would be something that either verbally or non-verbally you heard, a message you received in childhood, something that you kind of took in. Expressing your own needs will lead to rejection. So you don't say, here's what I need. Because if you say, here's what I need, you may not get it, and then you'll be rejected. So what do? You try to make sure you meet other people's needs. And you never really take care of yourself. Now, it almost sounds like, well, duh, you're supposed to be a good Christian and help other people. But once again, you do have to take care of yourself, because it can lead to just unhealthy behaviors. Once you kind of are okay with yourself, then you can move on past that. What we want the world to tell us is this lost message. So the wounding is, something that you heard and that you took in as a child, and as a young person, a message that you either heard or you received, either verbally or non-verbally. What the lost childhood message is, it's what I need the world to tell me, and what I'm needing. I want you to tell me you are wanted.
I'm not sure I can buy that, the wounding part.
Okay.
Because that would almost lend itself to, you can shape a kid to one of these numbers.
Yeah, and so the wounding things each week I told you is, the big thing is you can say this to them every day, but that doesn't mean they're going to hear it. For some reason, they're just still missing it. And it may be like in the way that they've decided to play with their toys every time, and they notice a toy that they leave out all the time, and they can just relate to that toy. It's like, I just feel left out like him. And so that's not what you use to shape it. And that guy that did the class I was in, he talked about how important it was just to share all 9 of the messages with the kids. But inevitably, one will kind of get left out and kind of lead them to feel one way or the other. And again, it doesn't, nature versus nurture, that whole thing. It's like, is this in this person's nature, or did I nurture them this way?
And there's been tons and tons of ink spilled on that one.
Yeah.
Is this nature, is this nurture? And there's as many theories as there are people in the world, I think, as to how all that plays out.
Well, I mean,
so,
we have 4 kids, they're all 4, there'll be a different number for sure.
Yeah.
But we didn't, deprive one versus the other.
Yeah, for sure.
Messages, I mean.
But it's how they take it in. So this is not necessarily how you gave it, but it's how they take it in. And it's the kind of their defense. Remember, think of this as their armor. And so each person is created differently, and their armor is going to use this to protect themselves. And so you could give the same message to 2 different people, but they'll take it, even if it's the exact same message, they may take it completely different ways, because they're defending themselves against being hurt in some way. I mean, it's a...
Yeah, I struggled with that when those things personally when we first started reading it, because we kind of got into it real deep when we first started studying it. And I was just like, man, I heard all these things. What is this talking about? My parents love me, that kind of stuff. But there is a moment when you really start to think about it. You're just like, well, in high school amongst my friends, I felt this sometimes. And you can relate to it. You can find moments where you can relate to it. And again, I don't think it has to be a prominent. And also, remember, never write something off just because you're like, well, that one thing about this one number makes me not that. So I think a lot of people hear that, and some people will notice a lot of the lost messages they've heard. So,
does that answer your question, though?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I just want to
it's
shake it up a little bit.
yeah, no. I like it.
No, I appreciate it.
All right, and just, this is our helper giver. Remember, they do numbers because they don't like those labels, but this person is just passionate about helping others and trying to neglect themselves because they want to be loved by other people, and they feel like the best way to get loved is to love on others, and they'll love me back.
And then remember the whole triad. Attention is one of the things. How do they get attention? How do they get noticed? By being a doormat.
Yeah. The giver, the giving tree is what I think about, and just I want to give you everything so you keep coming back to me. I was the one that gave it to you if you've read that book. It's a really powerful book, but that is our two. I give you everything, so you keep coming back to me. I want you to come back to me and know that I am going to take care of you and I love you. Which, that's not a bad thing.
Oh, and certainly we don't take anything that a two does for you as ingenuous.
Yeah.
I mean, you know,
Joe genuinely cares about helping
I
family
genuinely do
mamas.
care because I love God, you know, but it can slip into something unhealthy if I'm not careful with how I handle that.
Yeah.
So don't pat me on the back.
All right, who's our animal mascots for this one?
Labrador Retriever.
Oh, I like that. Winnie the Pooh. All right, anything else? All right, I make fun of Joe because he has the lamest mascot.
Wait, I'm a cat and a dog?
And another dog.
Wait, what's that other one?
A donkey.
That is so cute.
A donkey.
I bet he's helpful.
Joe, you want to kind of spill out some of the animal stuff? Because this is your
All
guys'.
right, okay, so, all right, have you ever tried to force a cat to like you? Has a cat ever shown you affection? Yeah, they can. Can you force it? Can you make it happen? No, that's a two kind of lives in both worlds. They'll give you affection and they'll give you that cuddly when they want to. And if you try and force it, no, you're not going to get it. Matter of fact, the more you force and try and make a cat like you and give you affection, what are you going to get? They're going to fight you, right? They're going to become stubborn. They're going to become stubborn. The more you try and push that. Now, they're also this beast of burden who just patiently trods along. Okay, I'll carry everything for you. I'll carry everything for you. Woe is me. You know, almost Eeyore-ish, but not quite. You know, he's all right. I mean, not fully Eeyore, but they're going to be there to help along. I'll carry this. I'll carry this. So the puppy up here. Not everybody loves everything about puppies, you know, but they come in and they're just, and that's fun for a while until the slobber and until it's just constant. It's nice at first. It's kind of fun, but they just become overbearing. It becomes too much. And of course we got our Saint Bernard down here. He's going to show up ready. He's there to help. He's there to help when it comes time. So, a few animal mascots here that kind of reflect twos.
None that seem all inspiring though, like a tiger or something.
Lame.
All right, so here we go. 3, achiever/performer. Their deep motivation is to feel successful.
Wait, didn't Jesus ride into town on a donkey?
Yes, he did.
Okay, all right. Just be clear.
That's a cool mascot.
All right.
Sorry.
Here we go.
All right, to feel successful, to be respected, admiration, impress others. And they do these things because they have a fear of being worthless and without value apart from their achievements and success. So they put all their value in their achievements and success. Here, look what I did. Here, look what I accomplished. These, you know, and I'm not saying that this is a terrible thing, but when you have a one-upper, you know what that means? Somebody you tell a story to and they come back with a cooler story and you're like, cool story, bro. But you're like, why'd you have to one-up me? That's because we were having a conversation about success, and you had a great story about success, and I wanted to have a conversation about success also. And mine just was a little bit better than yours. Sorry. Like that's them. If we're measuring, they want to measure success. So again, they walk into the room, they figure out how we measure success, and they are going to find a way to perform at the highest level of that.
Keep in mind the animals here.
Yep. Keep in mind the animals.
So yeah, I mean they're very self-motivated, goal-oriented. I mean they look around and say what's going to get me the most attention in this crowd, and so I'm going to go after that. What's going to get me the most brownie points at this job? I'm going to go for that. I'm going to look very like an achiever. I'm going to perform well, and you're going to see that. Remember this Triad? It's about attention. So they're going to get that attention.
They want their pats on the back. They want their pats to come on the back for good job.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Like I did that. You see this A? Like you know, lately David is really proud of like when he does something well. Daddy, look at this thing I colored. You know, and it's like I say good job to him. But you're looking for that. You're looking for that reassurance of like I did a good job, right? Like, that's where they want that pat on the back for that good job.
However, that can be how they're trying to get love. It's just through their achievements. And they just keep, well, if I just keep doing better, if I keep doing, and that's how I'm going to get my love, is through success and through looking like I'm doing really good at what I'm doing. Narcissistic, vain, they can be superficial, because it's not really about being helpful like a two. No, it's about looking really good at what they're doing. Overly competitive, boy, they're going to climb that ladder. It's not always so that the institution and the people will be their best. It could be just so that they look like they're the best. So that they get that pat on the back, so they get that achievement, so they get that trophy, so they get that raise, so fill in the blank. They feed on that success and looking the part.
Yeah. They're corner cutters. Remember our ones that were so, it's got to be perfect, it's got to be done right, and this is going to be such a great thing when I present it. Threes are, when I present this, like it's going to be awesome, they're going to love it, but they may have cut some corners to get there. They may have plagiarized just a little bit. Like, it wasn't that bad. Ones are, I cannot plagiarize, but threes are like, just a little bit of plagiarism is okay. But it's going to look good, it's going to do great, and they're going to pat me on the back. Okay, so that's their thing. And I love Greg. If you know Greg Sublett, he's a 3. Okay, this is my dude. And in my home, he lived in my home before me, and there are just moments of what me and Jonathan joke about is Greg stuff, where he built the deck and he framed out this door frame as you walk out. Well, all the nail holes you can see in the door frame, because when it came down to the details of filling that in with wood putty and then painting it, he didn't want to do that stuff. I built that deck. Pat me on the back. He's proud of that deck. He's like, yeah, that deck's still holding up over there at your house, ain't it? Yeah, Greg, it is cool, but you didn't fill in the nail holes. Like, that's what I care about. It's like, he didn't finish that up. So that's a 3 for you. And Greg, if you've been to his house, he built his house. He built that house. He's proud of that house. That house is amazing. It is a great house he built. But again, he can show you all the things he had not finished yet, because my house is built. I don't care about the little things. They're not detailed people. Talk style, polished, confident, instant experts. This one right here, instant experts. I was talking to somebody about Enneagram stuff, and I'm no expert. I've read several books, but my man read 2 chapters, and he was trying to tell me who I was and all the things, and I was like, bro, stop. Just stop. Here's a camera 3, I definitely read a chapter on it, he's just telling me all these things, and it's just like, you're an instant expert, just summed up. And I was like, did you read the part about how y'all become instant experts at everything? He's like, yeah. You realize that's what this is in this moment right now. But they just feel, once they dive into something, they just know it. And they got it because they're assertive and confident. So whatever they grab, they're like, I got this. And so they just radiate that stuff, even though they just barely dabbled in it. Promoting, they're self-promoting, they're motivational, they have success stories, like money, status, that's their talk style. Self-talk, and this one seems so horrible. I am better than others. They're just jealous of me. Again, and we think when somebody's getting pinned on this 3 thing, and it's in the back of your mind, and you're just like, as a Christian, you're like, that is horrible that I think that. And you probably feel jealous when people are, and when we're having that talk of how you shouldn't feel that, and you kind of feel that in the back of your mind, and this is where your shame comes from. You feel that shame if you didn't achieve something, and you feel that shame for just kind of feeling like I'm better than other people. And you're like, don't everybody think this? We do not. Well, 7s do, sorry. Like, I'm 7. I do too. So that's just one thing real quick. 7s and 3s get mixed up. The big difference between a 7 and a 3 is a 3 cares about what they look like when they do it. A 7 does not. Okay? Like, I want to have success and I want to have fun and do all those things, but I could have did it in sweatpants. Don't bother me. The 3 cares about what he looks like when he does it. And that's definitely my defining moment, because a lot of this stuff I resonate with. A lot of this. But that was kind of my moment when I figured out. And also 3 goes to 9 in stress. And I'm definitely not a 9 in stress. So
I was in the kitchen the other day with a 3, and we were cutting up garlic bread. And he's like, what in the world? I mean, and I'm not looking down my nose at this. It was just, he was just resonating three constantly because he made a big deal out of, well, I'm going to cut this garlic bread diagonally. And he was just showing me how it was going to look better. And I just threw it in the basket, right? We're just going to serve it for this group. And I was throwing it in there and he was like, no, we got to arrange it just right. And then he went on to tell everybody at the table, I put that in the basket just right. And he was telling, and he was putting pepper. He was like grinding some pepper on top of it, and he was going through and telling me how the pepper was just going to bring out all this flavor. He was just blowing smoke. He was just trying to impress. He was just trying to perform, and he went on and on about the salad that he put together. I mean, it was a bagged salad that I got at Kroger, and he just threw it in the bowl and stirred it all up. And he was telling everybody about how the salad he created and all the different flavors, and he was just trying to look, and it was just resonating constantly. It was just cracking me up, and he didn't even realize it, just how bad he was. I don't want to say reeking of that, but it was just, he was coming on strong because he really, really wanted that pat on the back, that affirmation that comes from, oh, this is a great salad. You did a great job with this. Oh, the garlic bread is cut diagonally. That's awesome. It was just, there were so many things going on and on.
Which leads into,
boy, that passion is deceit. They're not the perfectionist. They want to look like the perfectionist. They want you to think they're the perfectionist, but they've got a few corners. It's not true to themselves. They are not. They want you to see that, and so they kind of are deceitful in that way.
they'll round up.
Oh,
They'll
absolutely.
round up. When they talk about that fish they caught, it was about right here. Next time they tell that story, it's about right here. It's 16 inches, 17, that's 18. 18 might as well be 20. 20 might as well be 30. It's just, that's just them. They'll slowly grow that story. And I want you to know that the danger with their deceit is
They start to believe it.
they start to believe it. So they don't, in their world, they're not even lying to you. They really just start to believe that.
Another way you can look at this passion of deceit is vanity. They see themselves as this, and they start to buy into that. And once again, all of us have a struggle. All of us have a passion. All of us have a way where we're missing the mark, where we're tempted, like with twos and the pride, and hey, look how good I am. By serving, the attention that a 3 is going to get is, look how good I am by this ego that I've got. They're kind of building their own ego there a little bit, and so they can be very deceitful. That can be a struggle for them to be truthful to really what's the real you, what's the real you versus here's the me I want you to see, and so it's hard to peel back a few layers there, and they don't like that. Of course, obviously none of us like that too much. So what message did kind of soaked in? Well, your worth comes from what you do. Boy, I tell you what, Hollywood loves playing up on this one. Well, you see this in the movies all the time, and just the dad that demands perfection from his son and the sports, and and so he's just always kind of trying to achieve and always trying to do well and impress his dad, and just your worth comes from your achievements. Is the message that they've heard, but really what they need to hear is you're loved.
For be yourself. Joe, I handed you that, and you're supposed to look at that.
And I saw that.
That's very unhelpful.
And forgot to tell you that you are loved.
But again, I don't care what I look like, so I'm not stupid.
I'm working on being less helpful, so I decided not to. Be yourself. Just be yourself is what 3s need the world to tell them. 3s need, be yourself. It's okay. I don't care about, you don't have to one-up my story. You don't have to tell me all the benefits of, you don't have to tell me all of your achievements. You don't have to show me your trophy case. Just be yourself. Who are you? It's okay. It's okay.
3s are amazing people that can pioneer and lead when other people will not. we definitely need them, but some of us find the way they approach things to be just not the way we would do it, which is a lot of the Enneagram, and why we struggle with other numbers is that's not how I would do it. But threes are amazing people who lead the way and pioneer like none other.
And I'll tell you, I'm a 2, and you usually are a number, and then you kind of wing one way or the other. So like a 2 would either wing 3 or wing 1, leaning towards that. Last week I had a little bit of, Jesse and I have been having a conversation a couple times of been like, Jesse, I think I might be a 3, and I'm not really sure. But there was a moment last week when I didn't have all my notes together in my head, and I got up here and we started talking, and I really lost my train of thought. I didn't have it well put together, and I didn't perform very well last week. And as soon as class was over, I said, Jesse, man, I just blew it. There was this one where I didn't like the way it, and Jesse bailed me out. And you may or may not have noticed it, but it felt horrible. And nobody likes to mess up in front of people. But it was like, I have to, as the teacher, perform and have it all together and have all the answers and, make sure that I'm on top of my game and on all these kind of things. And it was like, I got home and Sherry went, how was class? And I was like, man, I just wasn't prepared. Well, it was like a 30-second blip that I wasn't prepared, but that just wrecked my whole, my whole feeling about it. Now, what I'm doing is I'm telling you so that you'll pat me on the back and say, no, Joe, that was really great. But what you can see is a 3, they're out there performing, and boy, if they don't just get it out there and just wow you with their performance, boy, that hurts them. And so I had that moment last week where I think I might kind of lean 2, wing 3. I had that moment, wanted to share it with you because it happens all the time.
Yep.
What do we got, animals?
Yeah, animal?
Go ahead.
A peacock?
A peacock. A peacock. That's a good one. Anyone else? Animal mascots.
A male lion.
Male lion.
Male lion. I like that.
Or a horse.
A horse?
Why do you say horse?
Because they're performers. They want to perform too. You reward them. They don't perform. And
Okay, yeah, I mean, we have show horses and stuff like that. I think that's
Okay.
good. That's good.
We said the chimpanzee.
The chimpanzee. Okay,
On
why?
the show.
Because they like to put on a show,
Oh,
and they want
yeah.
you to be proud of them.
Yeah.
Look at me.
That may be a hint of our 7.
Oh, sorry. We're just ahead of the game.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Wait. Why a chameleon?
The threes can come into any group and mess with them. Because again, how you measure success is what they're going to be for you. And it's like a 3 is so, a 3 on a date, like you're like, the person's like, oh man, I love rock music. Oh, because the 3 is, they dabble in everything. So they're like, oh yeah, I like rock music too. And they know 2 or 3 bands and they'll start talking about, we got so much in common. That's what the 3 wants. Because the 3 wants to just perform for you. They want to just have you feel like there is a sacred connection with this person. And that's the chameleon, they will bob around and vibe with all of them so well. It doesn't matter where you put a 3, and that's one of their great skills that they have.
We got 4 minutes left.
All right, let's run through it. So peacock, yes, proud, beautiful. Eagle is, they're, what? Leslie's over there criticizing. Eagles can stare into the sun. That's enough to be a 3 right there. The only animal that can stare into the sun. All right, so 4. Individualist, romantic. They want to be deeply known. That is their deep motivation, is deeply known to express themselves and their own unique sense of identity and to meet their emotional needs. The reason they are like this is because they have a fear of being ordinary, or always misunderstood. They have a fear of being ordinary. They do not want to just be regular. This is probably our lowest percentage of number out there. They say maybe 5% of these people. And that's maybe because they don't do this kind of stuff. And so they may not have ever taken tests or get typed or do any of that. And any conversations about this stuff, they avoid all that. So number may be lower because of that, but they are unique in that sense also.
It's hard to be unique when you're like a bunch of other 4s.
Yeah.
But they're sensitive to the feelings. They get you. They're perceptive. Once again, they get you. They're supportive of that. And they don't try to fix you. These are not 8s. They don't come in a situation and go, well, here's what you need to do. They're supportive. They're with you in this. They're compassionate. But vulnerabilities is, what we talked about when a 4 kind of enters a room full of people, sometimes they kind of get off to the side, can be withdrawn. What they really kind of hope for is that someone will notice them over there by themselves, but they can be withdrawn. Moody, self-absorbed. I'm just over here. Oh, no one's going to come talk to me. I really wish someone would come talk to me. And instead of just asserting themselves, they can be kind of self-sabotaging. They'll get in a room and instead of putting themselves out, they'll go make sure they sit in the corner. This victim mentality. Oh, woe is me. It's always against the world's always against me. So there's some vulnerabilities there. Relationships it's just a
The push and pull, a good way to describe them is go away but don't leave. Go away but don't leave. Because the thing is, again, they're in the attention triad, and this is how they get attention. Is they shut themselves into a room and they need you to come talk to them, but they also at the same time make it seem like they don't want to talk to you. So it's like, go away but don't leave. Come back, pat me on the back, rub my back right now.
So that was the bell. Are you guys okay with us finishing out and not rushing through it?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and finish out with regular pace and not rush through the last of it.
If you gotta leave,
if you need to leave, go right ahead, because we don't want to do injustice to, of all groups, the 4s. 4s, and they are in Eeyore.
All right, so the talk style is a longing, a yearning, regretting, dramatic, self-referencing, communicate with art. They are very artistic people, and they can communicate with their art. They can send a huge message in their art. And that, just because you're artistic doesn't make you a 4, though. But a lot of 4s are artistic. Their self-talk is, I don't really fit in, and I'm different from others. And so they just feel like, I'm a square peg in a round world. And they just don't really have a place, and they feel very odd, and they struggle to fit in. 4s don't really go to our church, our kind of church. It's cookie cutter. It doesn't fit them. It's mainstream. They want something different if they even go to church. Organizations isn't really their thing, so they avoid it. So again, does anybody identify as a 4 in here as of right now? And that's kind of what we expected. Maybe we might find 1 or 2.
Nobody would want to admit it.
Anyone said maybe, okay. So, yeah, and they have a hard time meeting. And it's, what's funny is that when your 4 meets another 4, like, well, you're not as 4 as me. It's because, again, they want to be unique. They want to be unique. What's the passion, Joe?
All right, so envy. They feel, go back one slide real quickly. I want to see this. The self-talk, I don't really fit in. Go on. So envy, they feel like something fundamentally is missing. And they see it in other people, that thing that's missing. And so I want what you've got because I don't have it. Something that they just don't feel is quite right. That's missing in their lives, and so they're envious of other people, and they look and say, "Oh, I wish I had that." And so that's where the envy from a 4 comes in. They long for what's absent, but they often fail to notice the huge blessing they are to this world. And we mean that. Every number is a huge blessing, but they don't see it in themselves. They typically look and see it all other people, but not me. That's how they can kind of be off center a little bit. And so the message that they heard, like I said, either verbally or non-verbally, there is something off about you. And so that's what they've taken that in. And there's something wrong with me. There's something fundamentally missing. But what they need the world to tell them, you are seen. You're not invisible. You're here. We're glad you're here. and fully understood. We get you. We like you here. We're glad you're here. They need that message told.
A good representation of the 4 and 7 when we get there is the movie Inside Out, Joy and Sadness. Joy is our 7 and sadness is a 4. And not because they're just sad and melancholy, but melancholy 4s are okay with being sad. And as a 7, I'm not. We'll talk about that later when we talk about 7s. But 4 is just okay with being sad. It's like it's a comfortable place for them, and they can operate in there, and healing happens there. And just learning, then they can pass that on to other people because their superpower, all the numbers kind of have a superpower. Their superpower is empathy. Nobody understands you like a 4.
They get you.
One person who I'm identifying as a 4, and we had a long talk, is Colby Quattlebaum in my youth group. Well, he's now in college. But when my dog died, I want you to know it's a crazy sad moment for me. I think nobody connected to me like when Colby came up to me. He put his hand on my shoulder and he looked me dead in my eyes and he's like, "Man, I'm so sorry your dog died." And he just looked at me and then he kind of hugged me. Didn't say, anything extra. No, let me throw a bunch of stuff in there. But it's just like I looked at him, I was like, "Bro, like you legit sad that my dog died." And I'm like, "That's awesome." And it's like, what a cool power that is. Because I don't have that. I don't. And it's like, what a great thing they bring to the world in that. And my man Colby is spot on with that.
All right. Animal mascots.
This was a little tougher probably.
A hedgehog.
A hedgehog? Why would I say that one?
Because it's the push and pull. Like sometimes they'll let you hold them, and other times they curl up and poke.
Okay, I like that one. I like that one. That's not the one we use, but I think that's good.
That's good.
All right, here we go. So I think there's some really good ones. This is
Look at that basset hound. I mean, just sad eyes. And specifically the basset hound.
and I just really like it. It's like handing them a flower too. It's like I feel it, man.
And they're not. Sometimes they're loving through the tears and they're giving through the tears. It's not they're just always sad, but that's just kind of how they can kind of appear.
The black horse represents the individuality. When you see a black horse, there's something majestic about it, something different. And it's just, man, a black horse, that's cool, that's different. And then I really...
We got the mourning dove up top, and it's, when you think of mourning, crying, lament, and their cry, this kind of has this kind of a sad longing to it. So that's kind of an animal mascot for. But we like this one.
This one's really good. The oyster takes a lot of bad stuff, a lot of dirt, a lot of hardships, and turns it into pearls. A 4 can really go through a lot of pain and turn it into something good for the glory of God. That's very powerful. Really cool. I'll say a prayer. Appreciate y'all for attending our class. God, I thank you so much for kind of these 3 types of people in the world, God. God, the leaders that they are, the helpers that they are, the empathy that the 4 has. Just them being individual, God. God, I thank you for creating us all so differently, and we're all just a part of the body at the same time, God. We're all connected. Thank you for sending your son to die. It's in his name I pray. Amen.
Amen.